that were looking into IT, encouraging me to look into IT. In college, I was pushing them off because I thought I had my mind set on one goal. But then after college, when I realized it was maybe not the easiest field to get into as far as the sports and being a sport agent, I worked at the jail. It was the first job that came available to me at the time. So during that time is when, you know, I really started reaching out to my friends from college, and just, you know, getting the encouragement from them. Like, they kept on telling me I should try it, I should do this, do that. So then one of my roommates introduced me to Sam, and I was, you know, talking to Sam here and there. I tried to, you know, I started studying on my own, using my time at the jail while I was working there during night shift, just studying, putting in a lot of work. And then I finally took the step that I knew that I needed to take, and I took the class with Sam. And then after a little bit of time with Sam, then I got my first IT job, and now probably 3 jobs later or 4 jobs later, I'm at where I'm at now as a system security engineer with a CACI. So that's a brief history, I guess, of everything.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that your friends introduced you to cybersecurity or IT. How did you talk to them about cybersecurity in general, or when you're looking for maybe going into a new career field, or were they already in IT and thought this would be a great field for you?
Yeah, so great question. So everybody, or at least all the people I talked to, nobody was really all in the same field, because IT is a huge field. There's so many different parts that that you can't do it all. So at the beginning, I wanted to do it all. I thought I could do it all, but once you see how much is really out there, it's a lot to get into, and you really got to find, you know, what part of IT interests you. And there's new stuff coming out now. So now there's cloud, get people that just specialize in certain parts of the cloud, AWS, Azure, Google, people that specialize in individual services that they offer. It's getting very, very particular as far as what field you master in. But I had a couple of friends that were in the cybersecurity field. And I don't know, just the aspect of the whole security mindset. I guess being at the jail at the time, you know, security. So I was like, oh, perfect. You know, I'll go from physical security to cybersecurity. So, but I did do some research as far as the cybersecurity path, and that definitely interests me. I had friends that were in the network area and several other friends in different other areas, but that's how I got introduced to the cybersecurity, just doing my research, and I had a few friends that were in that field as well.
Awesome. And so then what made you take the jump to learn about cybersecurity, to start taking courses?
To be honest, I know it's not the best answer people always want to hear, but they told me about the money they were making. So I definitely had an interest in IT. I know they always say, you know, do what you have a passion for. I definitely have a passion for it now. At the time, I had a passion for money. Yeah, they just showed me, you know, how well paid, you know, IT professionals can be. But with that being paid, it also comes with hard work. So, I mean, that was the first thing that interested me in cybersecurity. But then once I started, you know, studying and actually like seeing how the things work, it's crazy how how everything links together within the IT field. Just doing the different studying and learning different things and how people communicate over the internet and different things you just learned, it gets pretty interesting.
Yeah. And so then what when you started taking the courses, what was one of the biggest things you learned about cybersecurity?
Well, taking the course in general with Sam, one of the biggest things I took out of that, not really directly cybersecurity related, was to not give up. And just to, keep on pushing, and like you'll get there sooner rather than later. I don't know but if any further questions in this Zoom call is going to be asked, but I took the network plus. I took several times. I took the security plus a few times, and I took those courses with Sam. And each time, I was like, man, maybe this isn't the right thing for me, man. But Sam kept on encouraging me, and then I just kept on working hard, kept on going back, studying, going and going and going. And at the time, I didn't think that was going to be worth it. Like the money for the tests, the time put in for studying, I thought it was just a waste of time and a waste of money. But now that I stuck with it, the return on investment is definitely worth it. So just keep on pushing. That's the main thing I learned from the course. Learning from cybersecurity in the course, I learned a lot. I'd probably say still to this day, Sam in every class, he would either start it off or just in the middle of like reading or taking a break, he would be like, Cody, what is port, blah, 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 blah. And so I like to this day, people that like are deep into the IT field that don't know their ports, but I can spit them out. Now, don't try to quiz me, but I know my ports. Might take me a few seconds, but I would have to say that's probably the best thing I've learned. And that's one of the most, you think you're not going to use this stuff. Like when I took the study for the security plus, the network plus, I was like, hey, I'm never going to use this in the field. And a lot of the stuff you won't, but a lot of it you do, especially when you start getting in-depth, hands-on, working with firewalls, working with in AWS, creating the security groups, trying to open certain, ports so you can RDP to stuff, certain ports so you can communicate over TLS and stuff like that. So it definitely translates. So it's not a waste of time at all.
Awesome. So then can you go a little more into detail about how you switch jobs? You took a course with Slam, and I believe a month after you found a job in cybersecurity. Can you go into more detail about maybe your experience finding a job in cybersecurity?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I passed my test in March, my security plus. I passed in March of 2017. I was still at the jail. And then May, I looked at my resume earlier, May of 2017 is when I landed my first job. So March, well, we don't really call it March, so April, May, month and a half maybe, that I landed a cybersecurity analyst job. Now, it wasn't based off my resume, obviously, sport management degree and working at a jail. But landing that job was through getting hands-on experience at Slam. So I was able to speak to things. Sam always made that very important. You want to be able to speak to the hands-on parts and being able to demonstrate, things. I still wasn't the best at that time for that first interview, so don't feel like you have to be an expert. But then I'd say the most important thing for me landing that first job was you got to know people, or I don't want to say it like that, but your connections. You definitely utilize your connections. The staff at Slam, great connections. My first job was actually a connection that Sam had introduced me to way before I passed my security plus. And I won't say way before, but maybe like 2 months before I passed my security plus, she introduced me to her, and she kept on, you know, I would always reach out to her, bugging Sam. Hey, have you talked to her? Hey, have the blah, 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 blah. And yeah, so connections, I would say, is the most important thing as far as, you know, finding a position and getting your foot in the door. And after having that first connection, LinkedIn, I want to say everybody should make a LinkedIn profile. You can ask Sam. I'm probably not one of the most persistent people as far as like always reaching out. Like if Sam said he was going to do something, I made sure Sam was going to do it. And you got to do that same thing with people on LinkedIn or just connections you have. I would always reach out to people on LinkedIn, different recruiters, different people that passed like the Security Plus, people that passed AWS certs that I took, and you know, just reaching out to different people, talking to different people, seeing how they got to the field or the IT part of the field that they're in. So yeah, I can go on and go on about connections is one of the most important things, but definitely utilize them. You might have somebody that's a close friend or somebody in your family. Like I said, my friends from college, we're all really close now, and we're all high up in the IT field at different companies. So if I ever wanted to switch a position or go to a different company, I have several people that I could reach out to. And I've gained more and more connections each year that I've been in IT. So, and now you all have a connection, me as a connection. So always keep your connections and reach out to them, ask questions. I don't know a better word to use, but be persistent, but be annoying. I was annoying. I know Sam, I would contact Sam at 2:00 in the morning, asking him different questions, and he would be like, leave me alone pretty much. But he would always get back to me though. But yeah, connections, definitely.
Yeah. And so you mentioned from your first job, that was about 3 years ago, you said, and you had 3 or 4 different positions from then to your current job now.
Correct.
Yeah. And so then, oh, sorry.
What was your question? I was going to say, it's funny you brought that up because I was in an interview today. They brought me in on an interview to interview this guy that's going to be on my team. And the government staff that was in the interview with me, we were interviewing this guy. He looked at his resume and was like, "Wow, this guy switches jobs like every 6 months." And I get where the government staff is coming from, but nowadays that's I would say it's pretty common. But don't make it a habit. Some people take it as good. Some people take it as, you know, you're growing, you're learning a different position. So just be mindful of when you're switching positions. Have a reason, or just make sure it's growth for you. Sometimes, I mean, if it's chasing a higher salary, it might not always be greener on the other side as far as what you're going to learn from that position. So just be mindful with switching positions. Like I said, I think I'm on my 4th company since 2017. But with the current company I'm at now, it'll be 2 years in February. So just be mindful. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes it might not be a good thing. So just be mindful. But sorry, you can go on with what your question was.
Oh, I was just going to ask, since you started in cybersecurity about 3 years ago, what is the biggest cyber threat that you've noticed in your industry?
The biggest cyber threat that I've noticed in my industry, people you work with. So it's always, you'll read in the books and everything, like insider threat, human error. It's very true. I've worked, like I said, in a few different companies, and I would say probably 6 or 7 people have caused huge errors or issues. Thankfully, not, I would say maybe one of them went public, but all the rest of them were able to keep in-house. But that would probably be the biggest threat that I've noticed. So just be mindful of what you're doing when you're doing your job. Make sure you're always following procedures. Don't try to cut corners. Make sure CYA. You just make sure you document stuff. Make sure you get approvals, and just make sure you test it out before you go to do anything in your production environment. So that's the biggest issues I've seen since being in the field. I'm sure it won't be the last either.
Yeah. And you've already provided several tips, but what other advice would you give to entry-level people entering the cybersecurity, or those looking to switch careers into cybersecurity?
Yeah. My advice is, just put in the work. It's the return on investment's great. So when I worked at the jail, I was making okay money, making decent money, doing, a job that was okay. But then now I'm in a job where I'm getting my hands on really fun stuff to do, and I'm making almost 4 times the money that I made in 2017. So that's a great part of it. But as far as starting out, put in the work, don't give up. As you can see, before I got on this call, and after I get off this call, I'll be reading all these books right here because I'm preparing for the CISSP certification. I've been putting it off, and got all my notes and everything here. So just keep on learning, keep on grinding, and you'll definitely get there. When I took the class with Sam, me and my friend took the class with Sam right in the beginning, and he was telling us all these stories and money that these people were making, things that these people were doing, and it's kind of like what he was talking about was kind of like people on TV or NBA players, like, oh, that's never going to be me, but it's real. It can happen. It definitely takes work, but that's my biggest advice. Just put in the work and don't give up. And there's always something, to learn. Even now, I'm still going for different certifications and just learning. And speaking of that, I have an older guy that's on this part of my team, and he's looking to leave his team right now, or leave my team right now, because he is moving to Pennsylvania. But he's having a hard time getting a job. Sorry. My son, say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
All right, say bye-bye. All right. But so he's having a hard time right now finding a job. He has 15 years experience, smart, knows his ins and out of everything, can pretty much do anything. That's why I love him on my team. You always want that one person, but he doesn't have any certifications. He doesn't have a degree or anything. All he has is hands-on experience. As you see, I don't have a degree in IT, so that's not necessary. I wouldn't say you necessarily need a degree or need certifications, but I would say it'd be beneficial to have one or the other. Why are you being crazy? Go find mama. But the biggest advice I would give to people right now, just from my point of view, is definitely look to do some certifications. It's definitely a hot topic right now. But once you get a certification, I guess in reality, it doesn't really prove that you can do the job, because it's more textbook stuff, more textbook related. But definitely get certification. Security Plus, pretty much now you'll see that on any job description. And sorry, I'm waiting for this little rascal to go upstairs. Okay, I think he's gone. Okay. But yeah, where was that? Certifications. I think it's really important. As you see, it landed me my first job. As soon as I got that Security Plus, I was in a job in a month and a half. And as you see with my teammate who was trying to find a job now, it's been a couple of months that he's still looking for a job. And mind you, he has lots of experience. But I don't want that to discourage anybody on the call. You could still find a job without a certification and without a degree. Because I do have somebody, a friend of mine who also took Sam's class. She's in a cybersecurity analyst job now and is studying for her Security Plus. But so she hasn't gotten her certification yet. But she did that through a connection. So but definitely look to getting certifications and getting hands-on with the certifications. It'll definitely benefit you. And just keep on getting certifications and learning the new stuff that's coming out, because people are always looking for it and it just looks good. So
yeah. And so then what do you wish you had known before entering the cybersecurity field? What do you wish you knew about the field itself, or once you got in, what do you wish someone had told you?
I wish I would have started earlier. Like I said, I had my roommates in college who are all in IT now, but then I had one friend probably my freshman year of college back in 2009, 2010. And he took a couple classes at ODU and a couple of IT classes, didn't get a degree or anything, learned from that, took a certification, got into the IT field. Every week, hey, Cody, you should look into getting the IT. You should look at getting the IT. No, I'm going to be a great sport agent. No, I'm going to be a coach. I'll be okay. And now looking back on it, if I would have started this path back in 2009, 2010, who knows where I'd be at now, but I should have started earlier. I feel like I would have been, I would have known a lot more stuff now that I want to know, but I'm going to continue to learn, like I said. But yeah, that's the one thing I wish I would have started earlier and stopped pushing it off. Like I'm pushing this test off that I should just take. But so don't procrastinate. If you got a goal, if you want to get into IT, go for it. Don't take this moment right now and 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years in my case, and say, wow, could have started this back then, because it's going to be worth it in the long run for sure. I think you're on mute.
Oops, I'm sorry. We had a question from Emmanuel. He asked, were you in IT before your security exam?
No. So before that, I was at ODU doing sport management. And then right after graduating with my bachelor's and master's from ODU, I worked at the Prince William County Jail for 2 years. Now, during that time, as far as, resume building and everything, we use computer systems at the jail, but I wasn't doing IT work on them, but I use that as a benefit on my resume. So take that as a tip. When you guys are creating your resumes, like at the jail, we worked on a system called OMS, Offender Management System. And I worked on basic troubleshooting problems. I worked on printer issues when I had to print out the roster of who was on my unit that day. So, I mean, just take that as a tip. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's not a white lie, but you really are, it's IT related. So when people ask you, how many years of IT experience you have, do I count those years? Not necessarily, but do you have IT experience? Yeah, because typing on a keyboard, I feel like that's IT experience. Might not be what they're looking for, but don't ever count yourself out when you see, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I'm just trying to get to the point where you see like a job description and it says you need 15 years of this, and you need 10 years of this, and you need to be the almighty of almighty. That's just something that they put on paper. Don't let that discourage you. The job I'm in now is somebody that on the job description needed 12 plus years experience. 12 plus years ago, I was my senior year of high school. So just don't let that discourage you. Like I was talking about my coworker, I sent him a job today to apply for, and it said you needed 10 plus years of Azure experience. And his first thing was, well, I don't have 10 plus years of Azure experience. I'm like, but didn't you take a course? Don't you use Azure? Why not try to go for it? You might have what they're looking for. So if you apply for a job and they turn you down, oh well, you have nothing to lose. Just go for it. Go into the interview, and if you totally bomb the interview, you'll learn from the interview. I had plenty of interviews where they're right in the beginning, what's the blue screen of death? And my answer was when the screen turns blue, and they're like, okay, thank you, have a great day. You learn from those, and I went and researched it. What exactly is it? People were asking me my ports. People were asking me what would I do in certain situations, and doing these interviews, you'll learn from that for sure in the beginning. So now when I do an interview, it's nothing to me. I'm basically interviewing the interviewer, and that's not necessarily because I know everything, but I studied the job description. I knew what I had to talk about in the job description. And through doing all these interviews, you'll learn different tricks of how to avoid different questions that the people will ask. So like you see a question that they're asking and you know a whole lot about that question. Take that question and run with it. Elaborate on it and take up as much time as they'll allow you to take up with that question. Just speak as much as you can. Give examples, things that you've done with it. So that will give them less time to maybe ask you on a question that you might not have prepared for, or something you don't have experience with. And then you could just elaborate on something more that you've done and just then you start running the interview. I don't know if this was part of the question. I forgot the original question that you asked, but I'm trying to give these tips for the interviews and the resumes that I've learned, and it's been definitely key for me, for sure. So.
Yeah, and we had another question. They asked if you have taken your Network Plus certification and what other certifications you have taken.
Okay, yeah. I took my Network Plus. I do not have my Network Plus. I took my Network Plus, I think, 2 or 3 times. But that was one of those times where, like I told you in the beginning, I was like, man, this is not for me. I kind of like shied away from it for like a good week. And then Sam was like, no, you got to keep on trying. So then I was like, you know what? Let me try the Security Plus. Since I was more interested in security anyways, the side note, definitely, if you're not going to take the Network Plus, study Network Plus, because that will assist you in every certification beyond that. But so then I took my Security Plus a few times. I think it was twice, passed it on the second time, got into the job. And then that's another benefit of getting into one of these jobs. They'll pay for your certifications. So after that, they'll pay for your certifications and boot camps. So after that, I just started running with certifications. I don't know if it's going to take me off my camera here, but I was going to look at my resume for the certifications. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm looking at the certification. So yeah, after that, and I found out that companies will pay for them and pay for my time off just to go sit in the class and get these certifications. I think it's a win-win situation. So currently, right now, I have ITEL, I have Splunk certified user, Splunk power user. I have AWS cloud practitioner. I have the AWS certified solutions architect. I have the CompTIA Security Plus. I have the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst Plus. And those don't really count. Those are like these other ones that I listed on here were just other little courses that I got little paper certificates for on the computer. Oh, and I just took one recently on, I didn't put it on my resume yet. Scrum Master, it was either Scrum Master or Agile or something. I put it on my LinkedIn. So if any of you guys are my friends on LinkedIn, thanks for liking it. But yeah, I think I posted it on there. I need to put it on my resume. I forgot to update that. But and then right now I'm studying for the CISSP. So that's my my next venture. And then following that, like I said, things are going cloud-based. So I think if you're looking for certifications, beginner certifications to get your foot in the door, Security Plus. And then the next level up, I would say the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus with CompTIA, the CASP, CASP with CompTIA, then the CISSP, and then now the new the new cloud cloud professional, the CCSP, which is through ISC squared. The CCSP and CISSP are both through IS squared. Sorry, it's a lot of ISs and squareds and everything. But so those two certifications, those are like the big daddies of them all, the CISSP and the CCSP. Those are huge right now. And then I would definitely, if you want to go with the flow and specialize with things and where it looks like things are pretty much all going, definitely look at your cloud certifications. AWS being the leader right now, and then you have Azure and Google. But definitely look at those as well too. Once I finish the CISSP and the CCSP, I'll start looking at more specialized granular certs as far as like in depth with AWS services and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we had a question from Melissa. She asked if Network Plus is important for the Security Plus exam.
Indeed. So if I wouldn't have taken the Network Plus or studied for the Network Plus, I probably wouldn't have been able to pick up the Security Plus information as quickly as I did. So it probably is possible to pass the Security Plus without taking the Network Plus, but probably will take you a lot longer than just doing the Network Plus and Security Plus together. Because the Network Plus will give you pretty much how everything connects, how everything communicates, which security is built into that and on top of that. So for you to know the security, you got to know how the things work. So I think it's definitely important to do Network Plus. Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Do Network Plus.
And we had another question of what certification should you take after the Security Plus exam?
So my path was I took the Security Plus, then I took the CYSA, which is the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, which is the next one up for CompTIA. I would say the CYSA, the Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, is pretty much, I would say now equivalent to the CEH. Both have, hands-on stuff in the test. But I would say that's not a bad move, but pretty much after the Security Plus, you should know where you want to be at as far as in the IT field. I've seen people go from Security Plus to the CISSP, or you can go from the Security Plus to AWS, Security Plus to the CYSA, like I did. So it's really no like mandate or like this is what you need to do next, but depends on how much you're willing to put in. Like mind you, the CISSP, I've been on and off studying for probably like a year and a half. But And of course, these certifications, they have different mandates as far as, you know, how many years you have to have experience wise. But they have different things that you can do if you don't have the experience. So don't take that as you can't take the test. You still can. But Security Plus, and if you feel comfortable, you're feeling good, go for. If I would have done it all over again, I probably would have done the Security Plus, then jumped to either the CASP, which is right above the CYSA for CompTIA, or just jumped right into CISSP, which I don't know, has its pros and cons, because definitely have a lot more experience now than I did at that time that I can relate to the CISSP. So I don't know if it would have been as easy to understand the information for the CISSP right now, but yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to which ones you want to do after Security Plus, but I definitely think Security Plus is a good starting spot, and then after that, you have a lot of options. I don't know if most of you are taking classes at SLAM, but there's a CompTIA roadmap that you can Google. I just type in CompTIA certification roadmap, and I click on images, and it will show you like 5 or 6 areas of IT, you know, networking, so forth, so security, and so forth, all the several other parts of IT, and then it will show you the beginner certifications for that field. Then it'll show you the intermediate, then it'll show you like the master level, and then it'll show you like extra ones that you can get. So I definitely looked at that a lot, the CompTIA roadmap, to help out as mapping myself out of where I wanted to go. And then I also use the DoD, I don't know if they changed the numbers on it, but it used to be 8570. DoD 8570 certification, or it gives you level 1, level 2, and level 3 certifications. So if you go on that, you'll see like the level 3 certifications are the CASP, the CISSP. Soon the CCSP will be at a level 3, but I think the Security Plus is I think it's a level 1, and then the CYSA is a level 2. And like you'll see on different job descriptions, like people will say you need a level 1 or DoD level 1 certification. You need a DoD level 2 certification. So you can map that. The DoD 8570 or the CompTIA roadmap are great resources to use as far as mapping out a path of what you want to do certification wise.
And Eddie, I saw your question about the ideal certification list. I hope that answered your question. Probably the CompTIA roadmap list might be a great way to decide which certifications you want to pursue, depending on if you want to do security or network or another aspect of cybersecurity. But Cody, you did mention SLAM, and so how has SLAM helped you since going into the cybersecurity field?
SLAM has helped me a lot since. I still text Sam, hey, what do you think about this? Like, hey, Sam, this certification or this certification. Hey, Sam, what do you think about this job? Or, hey, Sam, you know, I have an information system security manager position or information system security engineer position. Which one do you think would be, you know, more lucrative and so forth? I would say they're after, like, even though I haven't taken a course with them in a while, which I'll be back soon, I promise. They're still out. They're willing to help. I have a lot of friends that are, well, now one of my friends is part of their family, but so I still see them around. But yeah, just as far as SLAM wise, they're still, you know, they're still outreaching, still, you know, offering support, still asking me to do stuff like this to help others out, still reaching out to me, asking if I'm doing okay, checking up on my wife, checking up on my son. So afterwards, their support is great, not just professionally wise, but personally wise too. You'll learn once you take classes with them. You're pretty much part of the family. I love when I go there and they would have a plate of jollof ready for me. So it was great. And then afterwards, I mean, it's been family ever since. So.
Yeah. And have you come back for any other courses or certifications since you took our first class?
Yeah. So I took Network Plus, I took Security Plus, and I took Cybersecurity Analyst Plus, all with SLAM. Um, Following that, I haven't attended. I need to. It's right now. It's more so I'm just so busy at work and so busy with this, as you see, crazy kid over here. It's hard to find time, but I know Slam has a flexible schedule, especially with their online and in person and different hours that they're willing to work with you with. So I'm gonna get in there, but yeah, I'll be back in there. But yeah, I took three. I thought there was one more course that I took with them, but it was definitely three of them that I took with Slam.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, definitely.
We did have another question. Someone asked if they have a minor criminal offense, would they be exempt from all jobs in the field? Since you are in a more senior position, do you have any insight on this?
So no, I know people that are in the field that have criminal offenses. It also depends on a lot of things that you're trying to do. If you're just trying to get like somewhere in in the public, or if you're trying to get like a government job, I wouldn't say it will hinder you at all. But you will have to like put it down. Say if you're going for a job that you need a security clearance for, either public trust, secret, top secret. If any of the positions require that, you will have to put it down on paperwork. And I advise you to put it down on paperwork. Don't try to not put it on there. They'll find out, especially if the position requires you to take a polygraph. But with I know a person who has his top secret with a full scope polygraph, and he has a criminal offense on his record. So it is definitely doable. People understand that you had a past, but yeah, don't let it hinder you. Don't let it make you not think that you can not get a position in the IT field. But just be truthful and honest, and you should be okay with it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I want to contribute to that.
Yes.
Okay. Having a criminal record will not prohibit you from getting a job. Sometimes it depends, but I want to encourage people that in Virginia or in most states, criminal backgrounds go up to 7 years. Anything above 7 years, they don't hit on that. And also, top security, they only do like up to 5 years. And the most they do is 10 years. So it depends on how long it's been. So you should be safe. If it's over 7 years in Virginia, you should come out clean. It shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. So like on the security paperwork that you'll fill out, if you're doing a clearance, the security paperwork that you'll fill out, like you said, I think that was George, for like secret, I think it goes back, I think it was reverse of what he said, because the secret's not as high as the top secret. So I think they only look like 7 years, or maybe 5 to 7 years for the secret. And then for the top secret, they look 10 years back. So if it's anything before that, you really don't even have to put it down. But if it's within that time frame, definitely put it down. But that was a good point that he brought up. It's only within the certain time frame. So, yeah.
And can you hear me? I don't. Okay. So we had another question. They were asking, what is your opinion on starting small in a IT analyst role or going for the more senior positions with um, more higher level job in security or network, which requires more experience?
Really, if you have the hands-on experience, or if you have the experience, go for the senior level positions. But if you're just starting out, I always encourage people, you know, fake it till you make it. I mean, go for that high position. If you can go in there and start running stuff, go ahead. But I kind of had both. So my first role was more of like, you know, an entry level role. I was doing security scans and putting Excel sheets together and creating reports of the security scans for management. So that was more of an entry level role. It was really, you know, me having to be really good with Excel and just, you know, taking the data from the vulnerability scans and putting it in Excel. So that was my first role, cybersecurity analyst role. But then the job I took right after that, on paper, as far as what they wanted, I was not qualified for. Like I said before, don't let the job descriptions put you down. I read this job description. There was a certain trying to remember the application now, Big Fix security something. I don't even remember the name of it now, but it was basically a SME for a Big Fix, subject matter expert for Big Fix. But I was ready to move from my position. I was ready to learn something different. And I applied for the job, and I had, from one of the vulnerability scans, we pulled one of the reports from a Big Fix URL, but we definitely didn't use Big Fix. But hey, I use Big Fix, right? So I read the job description. I have a week out into this interview. I'm YouTubing, I'm Googling. I probably asked Sam, but I'm sitting there learning Big Fix, just, you know, key words, key interfaces, learning how to do the simple stuff in Big Fix. I go into the interview. Hey, do you know how to learn? Do you know how to use Big Fix? Yes, I do. Okay, what do you do to patch in Big Fix? Well, you do this. Something really simple that says right there on YouTube. Great. When do you want to start? And so I'm going into this position. Wow. Now I really need to know how to use this thoroughly. Everybody's going to be looking at me. So day one, 13 hours in the office. Day two, probably another 13 hours in the office, staying there before anybody got there, there after everybody left, just, you know, clicking through the application, learning different stuff. And within that week, I was killing the game. That was when I worked for Department of Justice, and I was in charge of the security part for our whole division. So we were ranked among all the other departments, and I think there was like 21 departments. And at the time they hired me, we were ranked like maybe 13 or 14 out of 21. Within the third week, we were ranked number 2, and then after that first month, we were ranked number 1, and then after that, it was just smooth. So I started out small, but don't be scared to make that big jump. Because I started out small in that analyst role, had a few things from that analyst role that, you know, I learned, and then I jumped big after that. And pretty much after that, I would say it's been, I wouldn't say as far as position wise, that was probably my biggest jump from that first to second job. And then after that, it's been pretty, as far as the positions, you know, they've been gradually going up. It's where I'm at now, so.
And we had another question. Someone was asking, what is the favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job when I leave? No, really just teaching people, because I still have, like, yeah, I do my work at my job, but like during the day, like the new people that come onto the team, just, you know, teaching them the stuff that I know, and then also you know, if they're coming from a different place or doing something different, or just coming out of school and then learning from them the stuff that they know. So I love the work that I do, but that's probably what like gets me most excited to actually go to work and, you know, teach people and also learn from them as well.
Mhm.
I think you're on mute again.
Oh, sorry. So it was someone asking about what about someone with a job authorization but not a green card? What are the job prospects for them, along with what would be the highest level of certification do you advise would be ideal for someone with that situation?
So the person has an authorization with a green card. Is that what you said?
I believe they do not have a green card, is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as that side, I'm not sure what the process is for that. I know Sam from I think everybody knows Sam from Slam.
Oh, wait. Let's actually make sure that everyone knows. Sam is Slam's owner. He's the one that runs all the classes. He runs the classes and he does provide a lot of advice and assistance to students as well.
Yeah, so I would say definitely reach out to Sam on that part as far as, you know, being a citizen or not being a citizen, and that whole aspect. But as far as will that limit you from, you know, from what level of certification you should get? Definitely not. You should be able to get whatever certification that you want to get. That shouldn't have any effect on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anyone have any last minute questions for Cody?
Okay, let me contribute to that. In terms of what kind of documents that you hold, most government jobs require a U.S. citizen, right? But for other jobs in any part, it's not necessary that you have to be a U.S. citizen to apply for those jobs. It's only government jobs that require U.S. citizens to apply for those jobs. But other than that, a whole lot of companies hire. You don't have to be. The demand is there, so sometimes they even hire people with work authorization from other countries. So it depends on the demand. It's only U.S. government that I can say for 100% sure that they require U.S. citizens. You should be fine if you're not a U.S. citizen.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So Cody, do you have anything to encourage those that maybe haven't been able to find a job in cybersecurity just yet? I know right now is a very interesting time during the pandemic, but do you have any advice, words of encouragement?
Yeah, definitely. Don't give up. Like I've said from the beginning of this, I started out sport management degree and then worked at a jail. So she got tired of staying at home. I don't know how you get tired of that, but I would love to stay home. But so she was looking for a job, and through a connection, she landed an IT job at Quantico. So now she's making pretty good money as a operations analyst for one of the departments at Quantico, working from home. So don't let any lack of experience, the situation that you're in, or not having a certification. Like I said before, it's possible to get a job without a certification. Don't let any of that discourage you. Just keep on sending the resumes out. Keep on getting in for interviews. Even if the person, you know, doesn't seem interested, keep on reaching out to them. Get an interview. Do terrible in the interview. Learn from the interview. You'll get better at it. And definitely go on LinkedIn, reach out to the recruiters, ask them, hey, do you have anything in this field? But see what company you want to go with first. Say my company, CACI, khaki. I don't know if it's CACI or khaki. Still haven't learned that yet. But say you want to go with khaki, you go on LinkedIn, you type in khaki, and then it'll bring up people that work for khaki. You see recruiters, reach out to that recruiter. Hey, what type of positions are you recruiting for? Start reaching out to people, get to know these people, make relationships with these people, and eventually you'll be so persistent that they'll, hey, I have this available. I have one, I probably have like 1 or 2 people that I reached out to like maybe 2 years ago that will like hit me up now. Hey, we have this job available now. I remember you from back in the day. Great. Hey, that's awesome. No, not interested anymore. But then people that I know that are looking to get in to the field, I'll send those jobs to those people. So it's just funneling it down the drain. So like make connections. Don't be discouraged. Look on Indeed, look on Khaki's website, look on GDIT's website. See if Slam can get you connected with anybody that's in the IT field. I'm one of those people. Feel free to reach out to me. Yeah, so just keep on pushing, keep on learning, as I'm about to do right after this, probably for the next 3 hours, and then wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work. But it's Friday, so it'll have to work. So but yeah, just don't give up, keep on pushing, and stay encouraged.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cody. And thank you for everyone who came out and asked questions and stayed and watched us talk. Please keep an eye out for our next Ask a Mentor event. We hope to have one next week. So follow us on Facebook at Slam LLC or Slam Technologies. And we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you so much, Cody.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.